Now and then it's good to pause in our pursuit of happiness and just be happy. Unknown.
You have the power to be the boss of your own life. I'm your host, Monica Allen. I'm a wife, mom, entrepreneur, best-selling author, lifelong learner, and your biz bestie. I have a love and passion for all things small business. Growing my own company from $700 to over 7 figures annually, my goal is to bring you inspiration, business-focused topics and tips, encouragement, and a community that helps you launch, grow, and scale your business, whether you are a dreamer, a side hustler, or a seasoned entrepreneur. You are listening to the Become Your Own Boss podcast.
This week's episode is being brought to you by the Level Up Living newsletter. This newsletter isn't a recap of the podcast. It's a monthly message that blends business and real life, bringing you more content to grow your business without burnout and stress. Level Up Living, where business growth meets intentional living. Be sure to get subscribed by seeing the link in the show notes. Today's episode is a little more personal than usual, but I think a lot of us entrepreneurs need to hear it. I originally started my doctoral program fully intending to push all the way through. No breaks, no pauses, just get it done, or as they say, get her done. But this term, I began to feel really tired. Tired of thinking, pushing through topics that I'm learning in, but wasn't necessarily interested in. Tired of writing 5 to 7 pages per week on top of responding to discussion topics throughout the week. And so I realized something. Being committed does not mean running yourself into the ground. And after a lot of thought, prayer, reflection, and honestly just exhaustion, I decided to take a term off. I'm not quitting. Like I told my advisor, I'll be back in July. But for now, I need a mental and physical break from the juggle of family, business, and school. Plus, the kids are out of school starting today, and I want to spend some time with them, some good quality time. This is simply recalibrating for a period. As entrepreneurs, we celebrate hustle so much that sometimes we forget that rest, clarity, and strategy, or strategic pauses, I should say, are part of the journey too. Today, I want to talk about knowing when to say when, or as Kenny Rogers would say, know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run, or not run, maybe just sit down. But knowing when to pivot, pause, regroup, or temporarily put something down so we can protect our bigger vision, we can protect our peace. It got me to thinking, sometimes pushing through is not the answer. And a lot of us wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. Or I should say, I definitely used to do this. And I would say things, I find myself saying things like, I can sleep later. I just have to grind right now. I have to keep grinding. And the word grind was like seen as a badge. I'm grinding. I'm hustling. I can handle it. All of those things. But eventually, your body, your mind, your family, or your business start sending warning signs. And if we ignore those signs long enough, burnout eventually makes the decision for us. That's what I want us all to understand. Even though I'm talking to you, I'm also preaching to myself in this, but burnout can be expensive. It impacts our creativity, leadership, decision-making, relationships, health even, and ability to actually enjoy the life that we are building. There comes a point where constantly pushing stops being productive and can possibly start becoming destructive. Another thing is a pause is not failure. I think one of the hardest things for high achievers is realizing that pausing something does not erase the progress that we've already made. I'm not quitting my doctoral program. As I said, I told my advisor I'll be back in July, but I'm creating space to focus on what needs me most right now. And right now, my business needs attention. My vision needs attention. I have a lot of things running through my head, things in my business that I want to build. And I need that energy to go towards that and not school at the moment. Honestly, too, my energy needs attention. I want to just bring it down a little bit. As the kids are out of school, I want to kind of rest in that. I don't have to get up super early and get them places. So that feels good to me. I don't want to have in the back of my mind like, oh, I have an assignment due today. And also, while my kids may not specifically need attention because they're a bit older, I still want to soak up some time with them because I have 2 more summers before my daughter is heading off to college. And I'm sure she'll come home. But at the same time, there's internships and there's travel abroad and there's all these different programs that they have for kids. I may see her part of a summer and not a whole summer, even while she's in school. So I'm trying to keep those things in mind. And, sometimes a pause is strategic and it can protect us. It can protect our future. It can also keep us from walking away from something we actually care about. So I'm taking a pause. I think there's wisdom in knowing our limits and acknowledging when we're near our wit's end. And that's kind of where I was. My third point I want to make is you cannot build everything at the same time. And this one hit me hard because, again, a lot of things running through my head. We can have multiple dreams, multiple goals, multiple opportunities, but that does not mean that they all need equal attention at the same time. Typically, you can't give them all equal attention at the same time. And truthfully, everything has a season. And sometimes we stretch ourselves so thin trying to carry every vision simultaneously that nothing gets our best effort. And I had to ask myself, what is the priority right now? Not forever, not the next 5 years even, not the next 10, but right now. And that is an important question for us entrepreneurs to ask ourselves regularly because everything isn't urgent. Self-awareness, this is my fourth thing. Self-awareness, or my fourth realization. Self-awareness is a business skill. I'm claiming that one. We have a lot of skills. We talk about marketing skills, sales skills, leadership skills, but self-awareness might be one of the most important life skills of all because we need to know when we're mentally exhausted, when our creativity is depleted, when our business needs more focus. And I know that's it for me. Also, I'm trying to get back into my meditation practices so I can have that creativity and that release the mental exhaustion. Also, just kind of knowing when our family needs us and our body may need us to pay more attention. And so ignoring these things really don't make us stronger. It can actually just delay that crash that's going to happen at some point. And I think sometimes entrepreneurs, we're so busy proving that we can handle everything that we don't stop and ask ourselves, should we be handling everything? I can remember there was a podcast I used to listen to. I think it was called Biz Chicks. And I think she's off now. But I remember she would always say, just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should. And I always loved that tagline that she had in her, I think it was in her intro or in her outro. I can't remember, but I always remember that. And then my other thing is, we have to really give ourselves permission to reassess. Truth is, and for me to be clear, I went back and forth for almost this entire last term on whether to take a break or not. But in the last couple of weeks, I knew I had to do it. I just knew it. My body, my mind, everything was telling me I have to take a break. I felt like a break would just allow me time to spend on my business, time to spend with my kids, time to just regroup and come back with much more energy and excitement about school and learning new things and writing my butt off again. I'll be more excited to do those things. We are allowed to change the timeline. That's what makes entrepreneurship so much fun. I mean, we definitely have to run our businesses, but we don't necessarily have the same consequence of showing up at a job. So we are allowed to change the timeline. We're allowed to regroup. We're allowed to admit that something's not working the way we hoped. And we're allowed to protect our peace and our energy and our vision. The goal is not just achievement. The goal is sustainability. Because what good is building success if we're too burnt out to enjoy any of it? These are the things that I have to remind myself as I continue to grow my business and enjoy my family and just enjoy life and be happy. If you're listening today and you've been feeling exhausted or overwhelmed, stretched too thin, or like you are failing because you cannot carry everything at once, I want you to know this. Sometimes wisdom looks like slowing down long enough to build stronger. And I don't know if for those of you out there who are moms and you're listening, and this show is not, this is not just for mompreneurs, but May is a hard and crazy month if you are a mom and your kids are in school. We are running around like crazy people, and dads too. You're trying to make it to all the things at the end of the year. It may be a great time to take a pause, even though we do have our businesses. I do think because we all have seasonality, summers are a slower time for us in our business. So while that can also lead to some more stress, it's also lighter, which is kind of nice. But it may be a great time to take a pause or to just slow down a little bit, because every season is not meant for acceleration. Some seasons are meant for recalibration, and that's where I am. And we can recognize that those things might actually save our business, save our health, save our relationships, and our future. I'm asking you to just take inventory this week. This is what I did, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Had to take inventory, but ask yourself, what actually matters most right now in this moment? What needs your attention in this season? What am I holding on to out of pride instead of purpose? Because sometimes we do hold on to things because of pride. I just had this thing in my mind. I was like, I'm going to push through. I'm going to finish this program in 2.5 years. I'm going to graduate at the same time. My daughter graduates from high school. And me taking a term off actually, of course, slows that down. And I'm feeling really good about it, though. So I'm thinking I may do the same thing next year. But another question to ask yourself is, where do I need to give myself grace? And this is where I'm giving myself grace. It's going to be okay. I'll get it done. Maybe not in the time frame that I initially wanted to, but I will get it done. Thank you for listening today. I'm grateful for you. Take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast so it downloads directly to your phone each week. And make sure to take a moment to sign up for the Level Up Living newsletter. You can go to my website, monicaallen.com, click the bright purple button, or you can see the link in the show notes. Remember, entrepreneurship is not just about knowing how to start. It's also about knowing how and when you might need to take a pause, or at least slow down, to sustain yourself for the long haul. And remember, now is the time. Now is the time to level up, leave a legacy, and become your own boss.